Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm super excited for this video because I'm going to be talking about my favorite books and like how they changed my life and stuff. I'm not putting like all of my favorite books in here, just the ones that have like had the biggest impact on me, but honestly not even that. Like I have 3 favorite books that have changed who I am for the good. And I'm going to be talking about those, but like I said, I have a bunch of other favorite books and books that I think everybody should read, but I'm not going to talk about all of them because there's too many books. I'm just going to be talking about the ones that are like personal to me. So, let's get started with Red, White, and Royal Blue. If you know me, which I bet only people that know me are watching this, you know that this is my favorite book of all time. I love it so much, and Casey, the author, is coming out with another book in June, my birth month, and I'm so excited. I'm just gonna read like the back cover because I'm really bad at like summarizing things. Even though I've literally read this book 7 times, I still I feel like it'll just be better if I read the back. Okay, so it says, when his mother became president of the United States, Alex Claremont Diaz was promptly cast as the American equivalent of a young royal. Handsome, charismatic, genius, his image is pure millennial marketing gold for the White House. There's only one problem. Alex has beef with an actual Prince, Henry, across the pond. And when the tabloids get a hold of a photo involving an Alex-Henry altercation, U.S./British relations take a turn for the worse. Heads of family and state and other handlers devise a plan for damage control. Stage a truce between the two rivals. What at first begins as a fake Instagrammable friendship grows deeper and more dangerous than either Alex or Henry could have imagined. Soon, Alex finds himself hurtling into a secret romance with the surprisingly unstuffy Henry that could derail the presidential campaign and upend 2 nations. It raises the question, can love save the world after all? Where do we find the courage and the power to be the people we are meant to be? And how can we learn to let our true colors shine through? Okay, so basically it's about the first son of the United States. I wish we lived in this universe. And he's in love with the Prince of Wales. And Alex, the first son, he's bi, and then Henry's gay. And, Alex discovers his sexuality throughout the book because he didn't really know that until he met Henry. But I just love this book so much. There's just so many reasons. I feel like me and Alex are genuinely the same person. And yeah, it's literally my comfort book. I keep it, I never put it on my bookshelf. I always either keep it on my bed or on my desk back there. So I don't know why I do this. I just feel like it could protect me. Basically, anytime I go somewhere, even if I'm not currently reading the book, I will bring it with me. This summer when I worked at camp, I brought it with me every single week, even if I wasn't reading it. And I would just pick it up and read certain things. Usually whenever I'm stressed or feel out of place or like I don't belong, I'll pick up the book because it makes me feel I don't know, valid and accepted for me. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. And I'm gonna show you guys some, and I even DM'd the author. She never responded, but I get it, she's famous. One Snapchat I said, reading Alex and Henry's email, crying, don't text. Then another one, I said, there's literally a reference to the symposium in here, which is a big part of the book I read all last week and this week, and I'm genuinely about to sob because the connections to both relationships in each book are so similar. And I was talking about Red, White, and Royal Blue, and then my other favorite book, I'll Give You the Sun, which I'm going to talk about next. Because there's a connection there or whatever. There's just so many reasons why I love this book. Like I said, I don't know. I think everybody should read this. I've gotten a few people to read it. I talk about it nonstop. It's literally one of the reasons I want to be a civil rights lawyer and go to live in DC, literally because of that book. It's so good. I recommend it to everybody. Oh my gosh. Okay, another reason I like the book, I just thought about this, I forgot to say it, is there's a lot of references in the book. References that Alex and Henry make in their emails that they exchange to each other, letters that different historical figures wrote to each other in history that were gay or lesbian or bi, or they're all pretty much all closeted or nobody really knew, I guess, and just secret love letters. And I learned a lot of gay history from this book, so much, and I researched a lot of it after I read the book. and like looked more into it, and it was like really interesting because like half of these people that we learn about in school, like I didn't know that they weren't straight. Obviously, our education system is homophobic, so obviously like I didn't know that, but I just thought that was really cool that like all of the letters and like all of the historical like queer references that they made. Yeah, Casey did a really good job with that. It's amazing. Just like me and Alex are the same person. Like now I want to name my child Alex because I feel like we're the same person. Like he's very like, he hates like being vulnerable, and like he's really kind of like smart alecky and independent, and like doesn't want to show people like he's hurting and like he needs help and stuff. Like he just wants to do everything on his own. Like you can't always do that, you know? But yeah, I don't think I have anything else really to say about that. I did paint a painting. It just says obedience is not patriotism, with like the kind of like the colors of the book. So I like to paint. But yeah, so that's that book. And then, oh, also I read this book in quarantine. How many times? 5, I think. That's so bad. Actually, no, it's not. Who cares? But yeah, this is what happened. I bought the book in Boston, summer 2019. And I didn't even know Casey was from Boston. Because, like, I hadn't seen it in my Barnes & Noble in Arkansas, but then I saw it in Boston. I was like, oh, like, that looks good. And so I read it, like, over a span of, like, 2 days in Boston. Couldn't put it down. It was so good. And then I let my friend Billy borrow it. Over quarantine, I was like, oh, my gosh, like, I really want to reread it. And so I made Billy find it because she couldn't find it, and then she did, and then I read it in quarantine, and I fell in love with it all over again, and then I read it like a bunch more times. Whenever we had the election, I was reading the book just to like, and I really wanted Texas to go blue because that happens in the book, and like, I just wish I was in the timeline of the book, but that's sadly not how we're going right now, but it's fine. But the next book is called Untamed. I don't have it with me because I'm letting Bert borrow it. She's reading it right now. I think she is. She better because I want it back. Because it's so good. It's by Glennon Doyle, and her wife, Abby Wambach, she plays for the U.S. Women's National Team. So obviously, like, I look up to her and stuff. It's not like a fiction book like Red, White, and Royal Blue. It's more like, also on Red, White, and Royal Blue, there's just like a lot of like LGBTQ plus like inclusion and everything, like not just Alex and Henry, but like other characters in the book too. And it's like very normalized and not like making it like, I don't know, it just like seems very natural and normal, which it obviously is, but I feel like sometimes like in books they make it like more forced and like not as natural as it really is. And like in Red, White, and Royal Blue, like it was just like, I don't know, it just seemed like really natural and like made me feel like really comfortable, and like I just love that there's like so much inclusion and everything. It's not a fiction book, it's more like kind of like a self-help, but not really. I don't know. It has a lot of her stories in there, like about like her life and stuff, which I found really like interesting. I don't like to read like self-help books that just tell advice. Like I like where they incorporate like personal detail, and that's what Glennon did in Untamed. And it was kind of just like about, here, I'll read you guys this journal entry that I did like right after I read it. After you read this, you'll be like, oh, like that sounds like a good book. Even though I didn't really reference the book in it, but like I wrote this in inspiration from what Glennon was saying in the book. Basically, it's kind of like unlearning all of the like boundaries and like things that you should do and you shouldn't do, like unlearning all of those and just kind of like living for like who you are and like with no boundaries and stuff like that, and like loving with like no bounds. I don't know, but I wrote, living life from my imagination. I want to change the world, impact it in some way. I want more love, more equality, less shame and hiding. I want to stop living by other people's rules and expectations and live by me. I want to love with no boundaries and be so free-spirited and wild that I forget about right and wrong, and instead also what I think is the real me. I want to go everywhere and leave my mark. I want to be so passionate about everything that there's constantly sparks coming from my heart and peace at the same time. I want to walk away from anything that does not make my heart happy. I want to do what I was made to do, not what I should do or what is expected of me. I want to help people realize the same and fight for those who can't fight for themselves. I want a life of love, passion, and being completely untamed. It's so cute. But the book is so good, and it's kind of like Glennon like refinding herself and everything, and it talks about like things that like interests me a lot and that I'm really passionate about, kind of like the church, like not accepting like her coming out and stuff, because she was married and had kids with her husband, and then like didn't work out and stuff, and then she realized that like she fell in love with Abby, and she never, like, I don't think she had been with a girl before, and like it's kind of just like her finding herself and like being happy again, and like not just doing what she should do, but doing like what she is, if that makes sense, and just like living her life to like her truest self, and like kind of unlearning all of those like maybe like internalized homophobia and like sexism, and just like unlearning all the things that like the church and like people around her have told her that is like accepted and not accepted, and like unlearning that and learning about like who she is, and like going from there and stuff. She talked about God a lot, but like in her own like way, and I loved that so much. Like it was so good, and she was just talking about how like God is within her, and like God is love, and she's about like tying it to her sexuality, and like how God wouldn't like make you a lesbian if he thought that lesbianism was wrong, you know? If you don't agree with me, please just like leave the video. I don't want to talk to you, because all of these books are LGBT related, so you can leave with your homophobic self. But trust me, that book is amazing. I love Glennon so much. I love like looking at her family and like all the things she posts with like Abby and like their dog and their kids. It's just so cute. Next book is I'll Give You the Sun. Ugh. Wow, you guys don't understand how much this book resonates with me. I know I said that about Red Wine, Royal Blue, which is also true, but this one just like felt so deep. Like I could low-key relate to like the whole entire situation of the book, like the plot of the book. So I'll read the back again. So it says, at first, Jude and her twin brother are Noah and Jude, inseparable. Noah draws constantly and is falling in love with the charismatic boy next door, while daredevil Jude cliff dives and does all the talking for both of them. Years later, they are barely speaking. Something has happened to change the twins in different yet equally devastating ways. But then Jude meets an intriguing, irresistible boy and a mysterious new mentor. The early years are Noah's to tell. The later years are Jude's, but they have only half the story, and if they can find their way back to one another, they'll have a chance to remake the world. And as you can see how much I love this book, all of the markings in it. The girl, Jude, and then the boy, Noah. And when I tell you that that is literally me and my twin brother, Spencer, like, this is literally us. Like, genuinely, not everything, but so many things. Like, Jude is, like, kind of out there and, like, has, like, so many friends and is, like, super extroverted. And then Noah is, like, pretty shy and, like, keeps to himself and, like, is very introverted and, like, stays in his head more than, like, goes out and stuff, which is literally my brother, my twin brother. And I would literally die for both of them. Like, in this book, I read in 8th grade, and then I let someone borrow it, and they never gave it back. And so I asked my mom for it for Christmas, because I just, like, thought about it over the years and wanted to read it again. And it hit even harder this time. And so I read it during Christmas break. I read it for 2 days. I literally did not, like, Snapchat anybody, text anybody. Like, I was just reading my book, period. That's it. It's all I thought about. That's kind of a thing that I do whenever I, like, get obsessed with a book. It's all I think about. Like, I'm not going to think about anything else. I don't want to talk about anything else. Like, if you're my private story, you know, whenever I'm reading a book, like, that's all I'm going to talk about. Or, like, if you hang out with me, that's all I'm going to talk about. And it sucks because barely any of my friends read. Yeah, so if you read a lot and you have the same taste in books as me, please be my friend, because I want to talk to you guys about these books. This book just, like, really hit home because it's just, I don't know, made me, like, appreciate, like, being a twin more and, like, appreciate my brother more. And I don't know, it's just, like, really, really personal to me. And, like, everything that happened in the book was just, like, it kind of made me feel bad and, like, feel like a bad sister at times, because, like, I can relate to Jude, and she's kind of like a brat in some ways and, like, leaves her brother behind a lot, and I feel like I've done that, and it's so good. So I'm going to show you guys, oh, and it's by Jandy Nelson. She has another book, which I read in middle school as well, and I'm reading it right now. It's called The Skies Everywhere. Oh, and then I read it, like, the day after Christmas, and then I read it again, like, a week later, because I just loved it so much. Here's what I said right after I wrote it, or right after I read it. On my spam account, I posted this. I said, okay, so I just finished the book. I feel very empty because I have no clue what to do now, but I also feel so happy and like my heart is filled with every emotion possible, and my eyes have no tears left to cry because I left them all over this book. I first read it in 8th grade, and it instantly reminded me of me and my twin brother. The twins in this book are almost exactly like me and my brother, which is why I love this book so much. I feel like it was written for me. I'm literally sobbing writing this. Very glad I rediscovered this book after having lost it for a few years. Don't know what else to say, but if you're reading this, you should go read this book. I have a feeling my mom is reading this and possibly crying. Hi, Mommy. I said that because, like, I really wanted my mom to read this book, but I knew she wouldn't because, like, it'll just make her cry even more because everything, like, that involves, like, me and Spencer, I don't know. She always cries, like, things that remind them of us. I don't know. And then I said, okay, I'm done pouring my feelings out to whoever is reading this. I'm about to go paint a bunch of paintings dedicated to this book, which I did do. I'll show you guys this in a minute. Because I know that's what Noah and Jude would do. Also very tired because I got up to watch the sunrise because the book is called I'll Give You the Sun. Haha, very worth it though. Yeah, like right before, I had like 100 pages left, and instead of like staying up late to read it, I wanted to read it like when the sun was out, because like I'll Give You the Sun. Okay, so I said, don't think you guys understand how physically broken my heart is from this book. Well, the only person saying this is me, so never mind. Heart equals completely broken to pieces. And then I wrote, I'm in such a big dilemma. I want to read my book and I have less than 100 pages left, but I feel like I should finish it tomorrow because I don't know, I just want to finish it during the daytime. And I did finish in the daytime. I've been sitting on my porch reading since 10:30 and my AirPods are about to die, but I need them to stay alive because I have to listen to these 2 songs while reading that go along with my book and that I listened to the first time I read it in 8th grade, and I can't stop reading it because this important part is coming, but my AirPods are about to die and I'm so stressed. Okay, the 2 songs are, this is so personal, like why am I telling you guys this? Because like you're like, it's like he, like I'm telling you guys things coming from my soul. Okay, the first song is On Call by Kings of Leon, and it reminds me of Jude, like her part, and like Oscar and her love interest and her mentor Guillermo. And then What About Us by Pink reminds me of Noah and like kind of like the tragedy that happens in the book. There's a tragedy that happens which kind of like splits them apart. I think I read this. I think that's what the summary said. But yeah. And Noah is telling his perspective from before the tragedy when he was like 13, 14. And then Jude is telling her perspective after the tragedy. I emailed the author. I literally poured out my whole entire feelings and I DM'd her. It's such a good book. Did I get anybody to read that book? I don't think I did. But now I follow a bunch of fan accounts for the book. Oh, another thing. It made me get really into stargazing because in the book, like, Noah's love interest, Brian, he is, like, obsessed with, like, constellations and stars and telescope and stuff. And they were talking about, like, the Gemini constellation, and I'm a Gemini, and I don't know if Noah and Jude are, but I kind of feel like they are. And, like, talking about it because, like, it's the twins, and now, like, every time I go stargaze, I stargazed last night, I would just, like, lay in my driveway and listen to music, and, like, I just, like, stare at the Gemini constellation. And it just reminds me of the book, and it also reminds me of Noah and Jude, but it also reminds me of Noah and Brian, but it also reminds me of me and Spencer. So, I always cry whenever I look at it, but, yeah. And then, the book is based in Northern California. I love that so much, like, on the Pacific coast. And I literally made a Pinterest board of the book and like the aesthetic of it. I posted a TikTok about it. I'll show you guys. Actually, I'll put it in here. But I made this bracelet and it reminds me of Northern California. And I'm supposed to go there this summer with my family to like San Francisco and just like along the coast and everything. And I'm so excited because it's just going to remind me of the book. And I made this bracelet just to remind me of like the book, but also the vibes of Northern California. And I'm not going to take it off until I go there. Hopefully we'll still get to go, but it depends because of COVID and everything. Because like, you know, pandemic on a plane, that just doesn't sound it. But now I'm going to show you guys my paintings. Okay, so we have this one. And it says, remake the world before it remakes you. And then on the outside, I wrote revolutionaries because Noah calls himself a revolutionary because he's like, goes against the status quo and like isn't like everybody else and it's just like different and like in a good way and stuff. And yeah. And they talk about remaking the world together, him and Jude. Oh my gosh. I can't even like put all my thoughts into words because you guys just won't understand unless you've read the book. I recommend it so much. It's so good. I also made another bracelet. It's like a bunch of yellows for like the sun. It's not a bathroom though. And then I made another painting. It says, it's a quote from the book. It's right there. I don't think you guys can see it. Maybe you can. But it says, "The sun, stars, ocean, trees, everything, I gave it all up for you." And that was Jude saying that to her love interest. I'm gonna cry. I guess that's it for this video. I feel like this was very long and very jumbled and scattered. My thoughts were everywhere because I just can't explain how much I love all of these books. They changed me forever, and I think everybody should read them. They're so good. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Now I'm like really emotional because just like the books, like I love books so much. They're amazing. If you don't read, you should get into reading because books are literally like one of probably my all-time favorite thing about the world. Just like books, like you can just read them and like fall in love with them. Like every single morning I go outside on my porch and I read. And it just makes me like feel so happy and stuff. Just like finding a book that like resonates with you. And you can just like get lost in it and forget about like all your problems and stuff. And then another book that I didn't put on here but is an honorable mention because I also love this book. It's called Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I read it a few days ago. Literally in one day I read it in less than 6 hours. Amazing. I kept seeing it on TikTok. And so I read it and it was so good. It's another LGBT book. If you have any like books about like women falling in love, please let me know. I mean, I guess Untamed is, but yeah. I also like this book. It's one of my favorites, but it's not like in this. It was just like really cute. Like it wasn't as like touching, I guess, but that's about 2 girls. But if you have any other recommendations, please let me know because I honestly really can't find any. Actually, I saw a TikTok about some today, and I'm putting those on my list. But yeah. I hope you guys liked my video. I'm going to try to do more book videos because all I talk about is books, honestly, and I love books so much. And I get really passionate and, like, they become my personality whenever I read a really good book. So maybe I'll do another book video sometime soon. But I hope you guys like my video. You guys should read these books. They're all amazing. I love all of the authors. They're great. Yeah, thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.